opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. It is a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. You know that means my buddy, my good friend, and one of the judges of the All-Star Dunk Contest. We have a couple of more to be released this week as well, but one of them that you know about, Mr. Scotty Mincher. Scotty, this is the last Wednesday before you get to lace it up and put up those numbers.
Yeah, it's I'm starting to get the goosebumps, the butterflies. It's gonna be I'm chomping at the bit, man. This is gonna be a blast.
You know, it's funny that you say chomping at the bit because for a long time I didn't know. Like, it's like, where the heck did that come from? So, gonna have you a little bit of a random fact of the day. It's horses. The bit that they put in the horse racing, or if you're riding a horse, they wear a bit. So if they're chomping on it, they're usually a little antsy. They want to go. So for those of you that didn't know what the heck that phrase stood for, I'm glad Scotty said it because it popped into my head. And I know a couple of years ago when I started to write a lot more and started to come up with those things I could say for different things, you hear chomping at the bit a lot, and I was like, I wonder where that came from, and looked it up and didn't know that, and now it's like the rainbow and the star go across the screen. The more you know.
Yeah.
Scotty, yeah, we're excited for the dunk contest. We're excited for the All-Star games, the 3-point contest, the 3-2-1 competition on the girls' side. All going to be really, really fun. And we just put out the rosters last night on the website, although we had our draft on Monday night. So really, if you watched that, you knew who was going to be in the All-Star game. We've also had graphics go out on our social media pages throughout the last week and a half or so. So we're not breaking any news, but we did kind of put in the website last night, so you can go and you can click on that easy way. The easiest way to find out the roster for the All-Star game is that you don't have to go back and rewatch the draft and count everybody or try to go and find somebody on our multiple graphics, over 120 graphics made. So scrolling through our Instagram would be kind of hard to find somebody. So the easiest way is to go to ysnlive.com, check out the girls and boys rosters. You can also find the player waiver on that sheet as well. All players and competitors in the All-Star game need to sign that before they play. We'll also have the digital waiver there at the game as well. If you don't get it signed before the day of, it'll be a player check-in as well. But this is going to be a fun day, Scotty. I'm really looking forward to it. First time at Boardman. The shirts are awesome. Have you seen the shirt designs yet?
I have. Yeah, they are.
I love how we're kind of putting in that Boardman flair, just like we did when it was at South Range. We did the sword and shield for South Range, and now it's at Boardman. So we have, of course, got to have the Spartan, got to have Mr. Sparty out there on the shirt. So I like that we integrate, kind of like the MLB All-Star game, every design that kind of integrates where it's at.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And I'll tell you what, say what you will about the MLB All-Star game, and I know there's divisive. Some people like it, some people think it's kind of silly. The designs of the All-Star games, like the logo designs of the All-Star games, are way better than anything else that you see All-Star wise.
I agree with you. They're really really dope.
And I know this is a day where there's one game last night we're going to talk about a little bit. Boys volleyball. I was there for Howland against Berkshire. We'll bring that up, but this is a day where me and Scotty are the shooting the breeze a little bit. It's the calm before the storm. Spring sports start next week. Next Wednesday we'll have plenty of games to talk about. But when I think of logos, and I'm thinking this just popped in my head. This is how my brain works. I'm kind of disappointed with the Super Bowl logos of late because it all kind of just becomes streamlined and generic. Do you remember like back when the Super Bowl logos were all unique and they were all like kind of cool and they all had their own little pizzazz to them? Now it's just here are the Roman numerals. Maybe we'll change the color up a little bit, but like they've gotten very streamlined and lazy in the Super Bowl logos.
Yeah, they have for sure. I do remember that when the logo.
Yeah, they used to be really cool.
Yeah, it was like it's a big thing. Like for whatever number Super Bowl it was, they were really cool. It's like nah, they just like don't care.
So streamlined now,
Yeah.
Sad. Scotty, we yesterday we did the boys roster. We went through it. We talked about the players that were going to be competing in the 3-point competition, the dunk contest that you're going to be watching. I'm sure you've had a chance to go and look at the people that are going to be competing in the dunk contest to get an idea of who you're going to be seeing. So today it's time to flip over to the girls' side, go over the roster, talk about these names, talk about who you're going to see on the girls' side. So I'm going to go through it once again, just like yesterday. This is going to be an order of the alphabetical order based on the team. So first is Archbishop Hoban, and it is Nira Stevens, their sophomore standout that gets the nod for the All-Star game. They call her Zig, Z-I-G, great nickname. Don't know where it comes from, but I love it. And she's just a workhorse, the definition of it. Not the biggest body in the world, but she drives inside, loves contact, loves finishing through contact, and one of the best at doing that in the whole YSN family. Excuse me. After that, we go to Ashtabula St. John, and it is Mickey Zhang from the Heralds, a great basketball player that kind of supplements Alyssa Severa, who was the program's all-time leading scorer. Ayla Ray gets the nod from Austintown Fitch. She had a breakout year, averaging over 11 points per game this season and the leading scorer for Austintown Fitch. Also got a lot better at the 3-point shot this year, and just one of those players that really stepped up. Last year for Austintown Fitch, everyone knew it was the Zeta Creaky show. She scored a bunch of their points, and obviously she graduated, so they needed someone to step up and be a scorer for them, and Austintown Fitch actually had one of the best seasons in their program's history, and Ayla Ray a big reason why. At a Badger, this one was a no-brainer, Scotty. It's Katie Grexa, the Trumbull County Player of the Year. We had her on as for a player profile, and it was funny because she said, it's a little bit of a down year. I'm not scoring as much as I want to. And you look at the stats, she averaged 17 points per game. So it's like, I'm scoring as much as I want to, but I'm averaging 17. Wouldn't you love to have those standards, Scotty?
Yeah, for sure.
But Grex is great, and she is once again the Trumbull County Player of the Year. This next name I'm really excited for because it is the first representative from Beaver that we get, the newest YSN edition, Beaver, PA. Ainsley Banker, one of their freshman standouts, gets the nod from the Bobcats. So we have some Keystone love going on as she'll be representing in the All-Star game. By the way, I forgot to mention the home and away teams. This is on the website as well. Nira Stevens will be on the home team. Mickey Zhang, Ayla Ray will both be on the away team. And then the last two I mentioned will also be on the home team. So if you're out there listening and you want to know what uniform they're going to be wearing, in fact, the next several names I mentioned are all going to be home team white jerseys in our All-Star game. We go next, from Beaver, PA to Beaver Local. It is going to be Cammie Starkey from Beaver Local getting the nod. Congratulations to her. What a great season she had, and we can't wait to celebrate her season and her career um, with everybody in Boardman. We go to the host Boardman Spartans. Mackenzie Riccatelli is going to be on Jeff Hamilton's team. No shocker there. She'll also be wearing her home white. Sam Dubel will be in the All-Star game as well, competing in the 3-point contest for Boardman. We have Brookfield's Kaylee Wellman. Scotty, I said this in the draft. 2 years in a row, Kaylee Wellman has averaged a double-double. This year, 15 points, 13 rebounds. And that's hard. That's not easy. And not just to do it 1 year, but to do it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's really impressive to be able to put up a stat line like that 2 years in a row. As Clark Kellogg would say, stat sheet stuffer.
That's a stud sheet stuffer. Yep, that's a good one from Mr. Kellogg himself. We go to Camel Memorial, shining bright like a diamond. Diamond Sims gets the nod from Camel. She was their leading scorer, averaged just under 9 points per game for the Red Devils this year. We go to Canfield. Now we're getting back to the away team. These next couple players will be wearing their away jerseys. Cammie Dill and Cammie Ritz, both two members of what we call the Killer Cammies in Canfield. They'll both be in this All-Star game, and Cammie Ritz will actually be also a part of the 3-point contest. Canfield was obviously last year regional runner-up. This year they got into the district championship game, lost to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. But Cammie Dill played through a couple of injuries. Felt like that Canfield team was put together by duct tape. I mean, there were players that were hurt all season that were playing through some pain, and you could tell in that district semifinal game they won. There were a couple of players that just had to come out for a couple of plays and then went back in and would not quit on their team, and they got through that district semifinal game against Salem. Cammie Dill had a big fourth quarter to push them that way. She's one of their senior leaders as well as Cammie Ritz. So to have them both in the All-Star game was really a no-brainer from Canfield. From Cardinal Mooney, it is their leader, Sophia DiOrio, will be their representative, and they'll be wearing their away jerseys too. I love Cardinal Mooney's black alternate uniforms. Gotta be looking fly. I like black jerseys, but something about black with yellow and then the maroon of, well, I don't know what it's not quite dark enough to be maroon. But the Mooney red. We'll just call it red because it's kind of red, but it's darker than your red. I don't know exactly what the color shade is. I'm sure I'm going to be blasted by Mooney fans in the comment section. Because as much as I get on people for calling South Range maroon, I'm here making the same mistake, not knowing what color shade Cardinal Mooney goes with. I'm ashamed.
Yeah, well,
it's red, but it's not like your typical red, you know?
Yeah, I don't remember. What color is like the burgundy?
But it's not quite it's in between red and burgundy. You know, like
Okay.
burgundy is like, you know, your South Range, and then maroon is kind of like your Boardman. They're kind of dark, and they're almost to the point when where they're like almost dark red purple. But Mooney gets a little bit lighter than all of them, so it's kind of like maybe cardinal red. Maybe call it that, cardinal red. Does anyone know? Does Mooney have a name for their shade of red? If so, let me know. I'd love to know it. But you know what I'm talking about. I just got way sidetracked. Point is, their black uniforms on their away side are really cool, and I'm excited that Sophia DiOrio is going to be able to wear that jersey one more time. Let's continue to the next one, where we have the standout from Champion going to be playing Division I softball after her career in Champion is over, but does not slouch at all on the basketball court. Bella Meyer, who played in last year's All-Star game to represent Champion as well, she will be wearing her away purple in the All-Star game. So happy to have Bella Meyer. And if I had to guess, might see her again in the spring for the softball All-Star game, because once again, a Division I senior leader, does everything for Champion, led them in scoring, a great three-point shooter. She'll also be competing in the 3-2-1 competition for the girls' All-Star events. We go into Cheney, and we have Alyssa Brown, who will be wearing her road jersey. Alyssa Brown, a standout freshman that really lit the world on fire, averaged, just under 20 points per game, just doing everything right for the Cowgirls. And I can't wait to see her in her first All-Star game in her first year as a high school athlete. Ellie Venezia from Columbiana gets a nod from the Clippers, who won the EOAC. Congratulations to them. She was a big reason why. They were really balanced. So, to be honest, picking this one for the Clippers was kind of tough. But when you watch them time and time again, it's just Ella Venezia stands out every game. Very consistent player from the Clippers. From Conneaut, we have Kayla Farley joining us from the Spartans. We love our Ashtabula County representatives and bringing them aboard. And I believe every Ashtabula County school is going to be represented in the All-Star game when you took boys and girls. There won't be an Edgewood girl representative because it is the same weekend that their softball team is traveling, and a lot of those girls that are on the basketball team also play softball. So unfortunately, we won't have an Edgewood girl there, but we will have an Edgewood boy there. So I believe every member of the 440 is represented on Sunday night, whether it be boys, girls, or both, which is really exciting. We go from Conneaut to Crestview, and it's Addison Rhodes. It's the MVP of last year's All-Star game, and maybe going for two, Scotty. What do you think? I mean, sophomore year, you win the MVP your freshman year, and now you're going for 2 years in a row for an All-Star game MVP. Can she do it? Can she get 2 in a row? And then if she does the talk start going? Like, can she make it all 4 years? All-Star game MVP, all 4 years of her basketball career. Do you think the talk starts if she wins 2 in a row? Does that spark up the conversation?
Oh, for sure. For sure it will. Because you win 2 in a row, man. You know, why not? She's gonna be probably just as hungry, maybe even more so, to get that third in a row.
I tell you, it's not easy to win the All-Star MVP because, we have what I think 58 on each side, so you don't have a ton of playing time. You have to really make your presence felt in the time you have on the floor, and that's why we always say, like, this All-Star game is not about playing time. It's not a showcase, it's an event. So you're going there to have fun and being recognized for your community and enjoy the atmosphere. But when you do get on the court and you really just say, hey, I am here and I am the one that you remember from the end of the night, that's impressive. And Addison Rhodes trying to do that 2 years in a row. We'll see if she can. Out of Youngstown East, we have Janiqua Clay on the All-Star team. Got to shout out to Tanisha Franklin, who does double duties as not just a AD, but also the head coach of the Youngstown East girls basketball team. Reagan Edwards from East Liverpool going to be the representative for the Potters. And man, when you talk about the floor generals for the Potters, it's Reagan Edwards. She runs the show. She controls the tempo. Not their leading scorer, but when you look at in her assists as well as her points per game, then she's responsible for a huge chunk of the Potters offense. So happy to have her aboard her junior year as a Potter. Layla Martin will be joining us from East Palestine as she concludes her basketball career with EP. She'll be in her home whites, which is always fun to see East Palestine represented. Obviously, YSN would not be a thing without one kid from East Palestine, right, in DJ Oakley. So happy to have EP represented again on both sides, boys and girls. Edison is sending in a representative. It is their post player, Rebecca Evans, that controls the paint. She'll be on the home team as well. Can't wait to see her play. And I love Edison sending in representatives. I know this area doesn't talk about Edison too much, but we're so proud that the Wildcats are a continued part of the YSN family. And I love bringing them into the All-Star game so they can get a chance to show everyone else in this area what they're all about. We have Mandy Cardinal, who unfortunately will not be able to play in the All-Star game due to injury, but she will be on the home team. She will be recognized because she is a huge member of that community. So she's going to come down. She's going to be recognized as an all-star because she is one, and she'll be on that home team as well. Mia Melito from Girard, who was one of the front runners for NE8 Player of the Year. It was a hard conversation to be had, I'm sure, in that meeting room between Mia Melito and Mary Brandt. Eventually, Mary Brandt got the Player of the Year, but the year that Mia Melito had was also extremely impressive. She did lead the league in scoring. The caveat, Scotty, when that voting went down, was that Mary Brandt missed the last 7 or 8 games of the season with an injury. So of course that went into the conversation. But Mia Melito, very great basketball player from Girard, who was very close. They pushed Poland to the edge of that NE8 run, and Girard's got a bright future ahead as well. We go to Grand Valley, and the second straight All-Star game for Kaylin Hart, as she represents the Mustangs. She'll be wearing her home uniform on Sunday. From Heartland Christian, Rachel Reynolds. Heartland Christian had the best season in their program's history by far, Scotty. They won, I believe, 5 more games than any other team in their program ever has for girls basketball. So a monster season for Heartland Christian, and we are proud that we are going to be representing them in the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's really cool. Such a tremendous season that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to be able to them be a part of this at YSN, and everybody just kind of go out there and get to have a lot of fun.
When we talk about the Howland Tigers, Alyssa Masucci will be in attendance, will be recognized as an all-star, but unfortunately, due to an injury, she is not able to play in this all-star game. We do have Gia Hoso from Howland that will be playing, though. Gia will be on the away team wearing the road uniforms for Howland. Alyssa Masucci, just shouting her out for real quick. She averaged 19 points per game and I believe led the conference in scoring. It was a really, back and forth race for the conference leading in scoring with her and Mackenzie Riccatelli. But at the end of the day, I think by 6/10 of a point, Alyssa Masucci got the top score in the conference, 19.1. I believe Mackenzie Riccatelli finished at 18.5. So those two went at it all year. They split the regular season games, and just a shame that she won't be able to play in this All-Star game. But we will see her on the softball diamond. One of the reasons why she is foregoing this All-Star game is because she doesn't want to jeopardize that softball career that she will have this year and also after high school going to play at Slippery Rock. Hubbard Raina Barr, who was on the all-district team for Hubbard, she will be the Eagles representative, and she will be wearing her road jerseys for Hubbard. Jackson Milton has a tremendous freshman, Scotty. In their first year back, they had that one season hiatus where they could not have a program due to numbers. So they come back with a great freshman class headlined by Amani Yassine, who had a quadruple double this year, Scotty. That is something that is almost never heard of. Talk about triple doubles. I mean, that's super rare, but a quadruple double. Oh my word.
Yeah, that is something that, man, quadruple double, like that's you're putting the work in.
She got it in points, rebounds, assists, and steals against Sebring this year.
That's I mean, you gotta be special, be a special talent to be able to go out and do something like that.
So excited to see what she's able to do on the big stage. And, one of the things I also love about this All-Star game, I talked about Edison being able to show everyone in the closer area what they're all about. You get a player like Amani Yassine, who's on the small school, Jackson Milton. A lot of these bigger schools don't really get a chance to see her or get exposed to her. She's going up against everyone. I mean, you talk about Division 1 to Division 4. we don't separate them into different games. So Amanda Ysn will be going up against players like, Ayla Ray and from Division One Austintown Fitch, and she'll be playing with players like Nira Stevens from Division One Hope, and obviously if the coaches put them on the floor at the same time. But I love seeing the smaller school teams being able to send people that have their chance to show I belong on this floor with everybody, even the bigger schools.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's really I'm happy that that's the way we do it, um, because it really is a chance for them to not only show what they can do, but maybe when a little bit going into the game, players on bigger schools, they might be thinking, what does he or she have? What are they going to do here? And then they get to show their talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times when they get in the game, I think it's a really eye-opening moment for those other schools. Like, wow, just because these schools are smaller doesn't mean that they're lacking in
Not
talent.
lacking at all. And Manny Yassin going to be one of those players, I promise you, that's going to open some eyes in this All-Star game. We go to Jefferson, and it's Mia Contenza, I think for the second straight year as a Jefferson representative in this All-Star game. LeBray Ella Kuzma will be the LeBray representative. LeBray had a really good season in the MVAC, and she will also be in the three-point contest for the girls' side. We go from that to Liberty, and it's Mia Parker out of Liberty, their point guard, and someone that is really good at shooting the three as well. She'll be representing the Leopards. Morgan Lively comes back to us again another year in an all-star game for her. She's been in the volleyball one a couple of times. Now she's in the basketball one for the second straight year. A great athlete out of Lisbon, and she will be in her home white uniforms. For the Blue Devils, we go to Louisville. Brooke Heron, the program all-time leader in scoring, will be the Louisville representative. We go from her to Lowville, your alma mater, Scotty, and Serena Tyke from Lowville. We go from that down into McDonald. Juliana Krumpak, who also is a great athlete all around, will be shining on the volleyball court as well in the fall, and now an all-star on the basketball court in the winter. Mineral Ridge, how about Ava Hewlett, one of the best players in the MVAC, and she averaged, I think, 17 or 18 points per game, somewhere up there, somewhere up in the high teens. And she had a great year. Also, the rebound numbers really high for Ava Hewlett. She had over 5 rebounds per game as well. She'll be on the home team. From Mohawk, another PA representative, Aaron Capalbo, will be your Mohawk representative. We'll go to Newton Falls. Danny Drake, who is in a couple of all-star games for the volleyball scene in last year's basketball all-star game. She is no stranger to what we do in these events. She will be Newton Falls representative. Another freshman out of Niles, it's Carrington Stanford getting the nod for the Dragons. Poland is sending Eliana Thompson, a player that really bloomed this year, especially when it was, really looking to her after Mary Brandt got hurt. There was a big game to Scotty that I got to call in Poland. South Range came to town. South Range was the only team in the NE8 to beat Poland to that point, and Poland was in a dog race with Girard for the conference championship. They could not afford losses, or else it would have opened the door for Girard, right? So, excuse me. So Poland goes into this game, no Mary Brandt, playing the one team that beat him out of the NE8. And Eliana Thompson goes off for 25 points, and one of the big reasons why they were able to win that game against South Range, go on to win the conference outright. She's a great player, and she's just a sophomore. So happy to have her aboard into the All-Star game. Talking from someone that won for Poland to someone that was a big reason why Poland lost in the tournament game, Pymatuning Valley's Zoe Painter will be on the floor on the same team as Eliana Thompson. Zoe Painter dropped 35 points in the sectional final against Poland. They just could not stop her, and she is a monster player for the Lakers out of Pymatuning Valley. She will be in the All-Star game. We have two Salem representatives, and they'll be on opposite sides of the floor. Riley Hutton will be on the away team for Salem, and she is a absolute athlete as well. If you haven't seen her on the soccer field or on the track, you're missing out because she is much more than a basketball player. And then you have Lauren Barton, who's the defensive specialist and a pretty dang good three-point shooter as well. She'll be on the home team. So those two will be going at each other. Also on the home team is Sebring's Reagan Wynn, and that is her second straight All-Star appearance out of Sebring. And if you have a name like Wynn, Scotty, you better be either a really good athlete or you better be winning at something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But just for clarity, it's spelled W-Y-N-N, but still pronounced the same way. So at least it's not spelled win, because then you could get a lot of stones thrown at you if you're not a winner, which she absolutely is. So she doesn't have to worry about that either way. From South Range, it is Gwen Lowry, their leading scorer this year, that really I don't want to say came out of nowhere because she obviously puts the work in, but this season, the way the Raiders season started, they were struggling. And then all of a sudden, she had a really huge game against Springfield in the second game of the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic. Gets that win. South Range beats Springfield. The next game's against Poland, and Gwen Lowry scores more points against Poland than any other South Range Raider girls basketball player has scored against Poland in the conference game. So that goes back to Izzy Lamparty, Bree Kohler, Lexi Giles. A lot of big names that have gone through that South Range program since the NE8 was conceived. A lot of them have played Poland. None of them scored more in a game than Gwen Lowry, who scored 21 against Poland in their first game. And then with another 15 in the game at Poland, Gwen Lowry also has the most points in a season against Poland as well as member of the conference. So, when you do that against the team that has been dominating the NE8 and has won every year, shared it once, you're doing something right. And Gwen Lowry will also be in our three-point contest on the girls' side. We go from South Range to the best player in Columbiana County, hands down, Ashley Schroeds. I could go over the records that this girl has, but we'd be here all day. She has a lot of them, a lot of records, and she will be remembered as the best basketball player to go through Southern girls basketball, maybe the best basketball player in Southern history, either side, the best girls basketball player that we've ever seen out of Columbiana County. She broke that record, Columbiana County scoring record, broke it from, I believe, Kelsey Boker, who had it from Crestview. So literally the best player that Columbiana County has ever seen. And yes, she will be on our All-Star game. She'll be wearing her road uniform, and she will be coached by Michael Skrinjar one last time. Going from that to Springfield is Jamaica Brungard, who scored that 33-point performance against Badger to lead them to that district semifinal win. Then Springfield won another close game against Warren JFK, and then another close game in the regional semifinals. It finally came to a little bit of an end in the regional finals, but Jamaica Brungard, a huge reason why Springfield was successful, and she'll be on the home team, but across from her is her teammate, who is just one of the clutchest shooters in the Ysn family. Might not have the shooting percentage that everyone has, a little bit of a down year percentage-wise, but when you need a shot, and it's a big shot, Mariana Toscano is deadly from three, and we're happy to have them both in the All-Star game this year. And Toscano has actually raised her game. One of the reasons why her shooting isn't made necessarily as eye-popping numbers-wise as it was last year is because she's doing more. She's driving now. She's not just a three-point shooter. So when your shots go down a little bit, your numbers are going to go down a little bit too. And she does a lot for this team. And she does a lot more on offense from this team than she did a year ago with her versatility. We go from that to United, and it will be Grace Knight on the United squad. And she will be on the home team, so she'll be wearing her white uniform. And Ursuline will have the representative, Kennedy Carpenter, another impressive freshman, joining us from Ursuline. Warren JFK has 3 players on the team, and it will be Ava Darney, who will be in our 3-point contest, their senior leader, and then some young players. Gianna Pompilia and Dee Dee Ryan joined the show as well from Warren JFK. Gianna and Dee Dee will be on the same team. They'll be on the home team. Ava Darney will be across from them on the away team. That's always interesting when teammates go up against each other, Scotty. Gotta love it.
Oh yeah, you gotta love it.
Bragging rights on the line, and it's also a little bit of good old clean revenge from stuff that maybe you put them through in practice.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope the coaches get the memo and put these two on the floor at the same time. When you're on opposite teams, I hope they get it. Be like, hey, let's put you against your teammate a little bit. We go into Wellsville. It is Bella Popplewriter who gets the nod for the Tigers. She'll be on the away team. West Branch has 2 representatives and a coach because Walter Shields, the legend himself, has graced us with his presence. He will be a coach on the bench for the All-Star game, and he will have Sophia Gregory, who is going to be a YSU Penguin, next year with him, and Chloe Dennison will be in the 3-point contest as well as playing in the All-Star game for West Branch. They'll both be in their home uniforms. Last but certainly not least, out of Western Reserve, we have Quincy Miller representing the Blue Devils. And if that name sounds familiar, yes, Steve Miller, the head coach, it is Quincy's dad. And then obviously her sister, Kennedy Miller, was a presence for Western Reserve and I believe played in our All-Star game her senior year as well. Coaches for the All-Star game on the girls' side, I already shouted out Walter Shields. Want to shout out the other ones real quick because they're volunteering their time to make sure that this event goes off smoothly and these players get a great experience. Walter Shields from West Branch, Jeff Hamilton from the host Boardman. Then on the other side, it'll be Amy Harrison from Middle Ridge and Michael Scrinjar from Southern Local. Amy Harrison was named the Trumbull County Coach of the Year. So happy to have her aboard representing the Rams. And, of course, Michael Scrinjar, who is just a class act and just a great guy to be around. Had him on the show a couple of times. DJ interviewed him this year as well. Going to be a fun time, and we want to thank those coaches for giving us their time and volunteering their efforts to make this as good as it can be. Scotty, now you've had a chance to compress the All-Star game. Got any quick thoughts about it on the girls' side before we go to break?
Yeah, I do. What being that this is the first time we're gonna see the 3-2-1 and also the 3-point shootout. I'm not gonna ask you like picks or anything like that, but what are some of the maybe if you could give me like a top, like I don't know, even if it's just one girl or a couple of girls from the 3-2-1 or 3-point shootout that you'll be watching to see what they can do.
Well, let's go to the skills competition and see who's going to be in it, and we'll just run down. So your 3-point contest shooters for the 3-point contest on the girls' side, you have Sam Dubel from Boardman, Ella Kuzmal from LeBray, Ashley Schroeds from Southern Local, Chloe Dennison from West Branch, Cammie Ritz from Canfield, Gwen Lowry from South Range, and Ava Darney from Warren JFK. None of those people are girls that you want to leave open when you're playing against them. They've all definitely hit multiple shots in a game. I think it comes down to stamina a little bit because you've watched plenty of 3-point contests. We've all have. It's not exactly how many shots you hit early. It usually comes down to how many shots you hit in those last 2 racks are the ones that get you over the hump and get you into a championship. So I'm interested to see which ones keep their legs throughout the whole contest, because it seems easy until you're doing it and you're like, oh geez, I've shot 40 shots in the matter of 40 seconds, because you're just going and you have a minute to get all the racks through. So I'm interested to see which ones finish strong, and I think the ones that finish strong will be the ones that get through in the 3-point contest. And when you go to the the 3-2-1 competition, which for those of you that don't know, if you haven't seen, I mean, DT has explained it a couple times on the Power Hour, but the 3-2-1 contest is simply this. You have to hit a 3, a 2-point shot. It can be anywhere. It can be a layup. It just has to be a 2 and a free throw. You get 15 seconds to do it, and the fastest time to actually do it will be the winner. We'll have first round two players, and then the second round will be obviously the championship between two of them. So it's literally, can you hit a free throw, a 3, and a 2-point shot quickly? Who can do it the quickest? Which means you really can't afford a miss, especially one that goes far away from you. And it's going to come down to a little bit of strategy. I'm excited for the strategy. When do you go for that 3? Do you try to get off the jump, or do you go for it last, or how do you do that? Or do you save the layup for last? I would go for the 3 first because it's the highest chance for a miss. So um, you have a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit, if you shoot it first, right? Wouldn't you think? I mean, obviously, if you miss it, it's taking about the same amount of time to miss that it would at the end. Well, in my brain, I'm thinking I have a little bit more time to miss if I shoot it first. And then if I miss the first 3, I can say, okay, I'm going to go get the layup and the free throw, and then I'll go back to the 3 or whatever it may be. It's going to be very strategic because you can do that too. You can like go for the free throw, hit it, and then maybe like you go for a quick shot at the line. You miss the 2, and then you can just go get the 2. Or if you miss the first 3, you can go get the 2 in the free throw and then come back to the 3. It doesn't matter what order you do it. You just have to do all 3 of them in 15 seconds. It's going to be a little bit strategic. I'm excited to see what strategies these girls come up with and how they decide to tackle the 3-2-1 contest. Here are your contestants. Addison Rhodes from Crestview. That's not a big name at all, right? That's Grace Knight from United. We have Ava Hewlett from Mineral Ridge, Nira Stevens from Archbishop Hoban, and Bella Meyer from Champion, as well as MC Worth from Boardman. So those are that's a who's who of girls basketball right there. And I can't pick a favorite. I don't have one. That's a big list. I don't know who's gonna win. It's not down to who's the best shooter in the 3-2-1. It's down to when you hit your shot, what strategy you make, and how fast you do it. So I don't even know how to judge the 3-2-1 contest. I could go through and break down who are the best 3-point shooters and try to give you a favorite in the 3-point contest. But, this is something you don't see the girls do. So you don't know who's going to be the best at it. That's what excites me. You don't know who's going to be the best at it.
Because it's new.
Right.
Where it's just kind of a thing. It's gonna
We try to get those players that can score in the paint a little bit and also go back and shoot 3. Those are the players we're aiming for in this one, and I think all those players do that really, really well. They can go in, get contact. They can not that they'll get contact in this game, but they can go inside. They can do that, but then they also can get out and shoot the 3. And I think all these players do that really, really well. So I'm really excited for this 3-2-1 contest.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And you were talking about the advantages you see of maybe jacking up that 3 ball first, but like even if you decide to go like, okay, I'm gonna do the layup first, then the free throw, or the free throw and then the layup, like whatever way you decide to attack it. You would think, the layup, it could happen super quickly, and then the free throw, like, it's one of those where, you generally, like during a game, you're calm, but because this is
like the Mission Impossible theme going while you're doing it, right? Like
yeah,
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, then we'll have that.
I want the DJ to play that during the 3-2-1
in the
contest.
background. Yeah.
I'm gonna request that. I'm gonna be like, hey, during the 3-2-1, can we do like the Mission Impossible theme since they have a clock to go down?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be a fun time. Scotty, you'll be there. You're gonna be the dunk contest judge. You're gonna be one of many, and we will introduce the other 2 later on this week on the Power Hour. We've already introduced Scotty. We already see Andrew DePaulo from WFMJ, Madison Tromler as well from WFMJ, our good friends at 21. They're both been announced. They'll both be there, along with some other secrets that we have in store for you later on this week in the Power Hour. Let's go into a commercial break, Scotty, and then we'll come back, and we'll just have you freestyle it a little bit. We'll see what's on your mind.
All right, sounds good.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
That drum roll at the end of the Dickey always got me bumping. Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by the good friends right above our heads, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hertwig, Scotty Mincher with you. Scotty, it's time for the most dangerous question that I ask all week. What's on your mind, buddy?
Oh, dangerous, man.
Let's get dangerous.
Was that Darkwing?
Darkwing Duck, buddy.
Yeah, I thought so.
Throwing it back to the early 90s. Let's go.
Yeah, that was a good drop. 90s nostalgia. But I know we got about 10 minutes left. I was wondering from you, Anthony, we talked a lot about the All-Star games we have coming up, and the 3-2-1 and the 3-point shootout, and there's also gonna be boys, dunk contest. So a lot of exciting stuff. But just switching gears on that. As we get closer to the baseball and softball season.
Saturday.
Yes. Every year is different. So maybe what are some things you're looking at as far as the area, certain players this year and teams? What are some things you're watching that you think, certain teams, maybe they do things a little differently this year, or that they have a more patient approach at the plate, or they're more aggressive or whatever? What are the some things off the top of your head that you think could be different for some teams going into the season, but at the same time, you think they'll be exciting for their program?
Well, I'll tell you what, softball wise, one of the things I'm excited about, Scotty, is to see all season long how Austintown Fitch handles being the reigning state champions. It's hard enough to get there once, but when you come back the next year and you have that title, everyone is just gunning so hard for you, even outside of the state. When you go down to Myrtle Beach, and all of a sudden you bring in, everyone knows who the state champion is. So you bring in this, we're the state champion. Now there are softball, national softball polls that are putting Fitch in there. Everyone in the country kind of is starting to know what Austintown Fitch is. So when you think about that, like, that's great, but it also can be, if it's not handled well, which I have all the faith in the world in Coach Ward handling it well with his program, but it can be a little bit of pressure. You have to go down there and you have to take everyone's best every single day. And there's never going to be a relenting team, and they have a tough schedule. Are they going to get through it? And can they make that run back to state? The wonderful and yet tragic thing about softball and baseball tournaments is baseball and softball are so fickle. We all know that. You're a fan of the sport just like I am. And in high school, it's one and done. And it takes that one fickle game where maybe you miss a couple of spots when you're pitching, or maybe your hitting just isn't timing that day, or you have a couple of balls duck snort drop in the outfield that give a team a run. It's just so fickle, and it takes this one loss. You're out. You're done. That's it. You're done. And that doesn't get that means nothing is at all guaranteed at all. You go into college, it's best 2 out of 3 in the super regionals. In the regional, you have to win 2 games, 3 games to get out of it. In the World Series for college, you got to go through. And then the championship series is 2 out of 3. It's that for a reason, because this sport is so dang unpredictable. So to have it one and done, I'm really interested to see how Fitch handles being a reigning champion. And first game off the jump is Canfield. How about that? Like, these are 2 teams that played twice last year and did not have a winner. They went into extras. They lost time, lost daylight in the first game. They couldn't finish it. The second game, same thing. They end the game tied, but they're so close to tournament time. After the 7th inning, with another game still to finish, they just go, you know what? Let's save our arms. Let's split the AAC, and let's take it home. Let's both go to state. And they both went to state. I think the tournament proves that decision was the right one to make for both those coaches. But it also left a lot of hunger for both those programs, because they both want to say, no more of this. Someone's going to win this game. And Coach Kernan said it very flatly in his coach's corner. He said, we're not tying with Fitch this year. So it's going to be fun, isn't it? Those two. Everyone wants to just give Fitch the silver platter, but they forget that they did not beat Canfield last year. They tied with them. Canfield didn't beat Fitch, but Fitch didn't beat Canfield either. So that AAC is not just all of a sudden given to Fitch on a silver platter, because they have another state runner-up right there next to them. It's going to be fun. And then outside of those 2 programs, there are a lot of teams that bring back a lot of talent, but that talent's not necessarily in the circle. So I'm really excited to see some of these new pitchers coming up in some of these programs that bring back a lot of returning starters, but they lost their senior pitchers. Poland really comes to mind. Keenan McDonald pitched a huge chunk of their innings last year. They bring back so much talent on that team in the lineup, but their pitching is a question mark. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be the new Keenan McDonald? I think Olivia Horn is going to be the one that takes a bulk of their innings, but what's she bring to the table? First year as a consistent varsity starter. What's that going to look like? South Range in the same league, in the same boat. Julie Stakowicz and Sam Suzanne, both great pitchers. They're gone. They graduated. Now they have Kaylee Wilt, probably going to be their number 1 this year. How does she handle being the number 1 now? New catcher, too. They lost an all-state catcher, but they have so much talent in the lineup coming back. Young talent that was right there in the infield, in the outfield. How do they handle the pitching? How do some of these other teams that are in the same boat? Springfield, Hallie McCullough, she graduated. There's going to be a lot of new pitching and new names in the circle on the softball diamond that I'm excited to see as well.
And I guess my last thing would be just kind of on the surface, keeping that in mind. Like, do you, because there's gonna be uncertainty in the circle a lot with the pitching, like, do you looking at it from the outside and maybe not knowing about all the, and you do know more than anyone I know about softball. You're the guru. But with that being said, do you think that maybe because some of these teams, it looks like there's going to be uncertainty with their pitching staff? Do you think maybe it would call for a more aggressive approach at the plate to try to, slug out as many runs as possible? Or do you say, do you flip that totally on its head and say we're going to play maybe a little more conservative approach, a little more small ball, and maybe not always small ball, but more patience at the plate and taking pitches to help out our pitchers? What way do you look at it?
I don't think the approach is going to change too much, especially in the first half of the game. But like, I think where it's going to change is, like in the last year when you had those aces on those teams I mentioned, and a couple of more too. You might have a 2-run lead in the 7th or in the 6th and be like, okay, you know what? But we have an ace. We're not going to stress too much if we have a runner on first and we pop. But I think there's going to be like a lot more like runs are never enough, right? Because especially early in the season, we haven't put this pitcher in the situation yet. Let's just foot to the gas pedal on offense late. But early, everyone's aggressive early in the games. You're never going to take your foot off the gas pedal early. You're never going to say, hey, you know what? It's only 1-0 in the second, but that's enough for me. We're just gonna bunt now. That's not how it goes. But I think late in the game, if you're up by 2 or 3, some teams might be satisfied with that. These teams won't be. They're going to be, you know what? Let's go up by 5, 6, 7 because we don't know exactly what's going to happen on defense.
Yeah, I think it's something that is fascinating, and there's so many different variable, like the pitch sequence, and every pitch kind of creating that different conversation.
And look, let me just talk about South Range real quick because I have gone through. I'm a South Range alum, for those of you that don't know, and I've watched their softball program ever since I was in high school. That was kind of their resurgence, right? In 2010, which was my junior year, they went to their first regional tournament since 2001. Since 2010, they have not gone a season without a pitcher in the circle that eventually went on to play in college. So they find ways to develop pitchers. They find pitching in the youth system. They know what they're doing. So just because Julie Stakowicz and Sam Suzanne graduated, who are both really good pitchers, like Coach DeRose and Coach Farron. One, Coach Farron calls really good games pitching. But two, that program, I'm never going to question that program in the circle again because they've lost really good pitchers a lot of years. I remember first time around, it was, what are they going to do without Madison Yannick, who's now Madison Kurtz, who's now one of the coaches at Columbiana, and her younger sister stepped up, and Carly DeRose, coach's daughter, steps up a little bit. She starts to pitch really well. And then Carly DeRose graduates, and she was the ace her senior year. What are they going to do now? Well, then it was Kerrigan Yannick, got them all the way to state. What are they going to do now? And then it was Bree Kohler, got them all the way to state. What are they, what I mean? It just kept coming. All of those pitchers I just mentioned, they all went on to play in college. Bree Kohler still at Youngstown State. Stakowicz still a college pitcher, starting her first year. Kerrigan Yannick went to Findlay. Carly DeRose went to Slippery Rock. Madison Kurtz went to Tiffin. So they're all college pitchers, and South Range finds a way to turn their pitchers into college level arms. So Jamie Wilt, colleges better get on the phone right now because she might be an unknown coming into this year. But, you give her a couple of years in that program, she'll probably be a college pitcher by the end of it.
And it's It really is. I think, since the beginning of, uh, as far back as I can remember, they say how hitting is contagious, but really, I think it's kind of almost the same thing with pitching. Like when you have um, girls or guys that go out there and they're doing so well, the other players on the team kind of feed off that. They not always that they want to go out and pitch better than their teammate, but it like fuels them to want to go out. They say, okay, like they gave us a great outing tonight. Now let's see. I want to see what I can do, and if I could be just as good or better.
And real quick, before we get out of here, I also want to shout out Champion, who's bringing back Gabby Gradishar in the circle. She committed to Penn State over the summer, so she's going to be a D1 Power 5 pitcher, and she's going to be, leading a team that was one step away from state last year, lost to South Range in that state's regional semifinal. So they were kind of a couple of steps from state. They're bringing back a lot. They still have Bella Meyer, who's going to YSU as well. They still have Addie Warzela, who's a college level catcher. They have some unfinished business in that Division III, which is brutal even outside the YSN family, because you have Keystone and Triway, who are both state powerhouses in their own right in that same division, in the same region as well. So Division III softball, just like last year, going to be talked about all season long. Probably will be the hardest region to get out of, and whoever gets out of the region will have a tough task in Wheelersburg as well, outside of our region in the state. So going to be a fun season. I'm excited to see how everyone does.
Yeah, for sure, and it's something that I love the aggression of the sport, from the pitching aspect and the hitting. Very early on, you'll see these teams being super aggressive, but in the moments when the game slows down a little bit or it gets tight, it's always fun to see what teams are able to kind of live up to when the pressure builds. So
that's always fun, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. Saturday it all starts. The season starts on Saturday. Baseball and softball will be on the network. Can't wait, man. Here we go. By the time we talk again, we're gonna have baseball and softball games in. We're gonna see each other Sunday, but even then we'll have baseball and softball games officially in, as long as the weather keeps up on Saturday, which right now it looks cold but dry. So that's always, thumbs up for that.
And
Scotty, thank you so much for taking the time to join us like we do every Wednesday. We appreciate what you do for YSN. Can't wait to see you on Sunday, buddy, in your glory, judging the dunk contest.
Oh yeah, the dunk, the 3-2-1 3-point shootout. Let's go, baby.
And unfortunately, dunkers cannot jump over Scotty. We have forbid using him as a prop. I know you wanted to, Scotty. You wanted to dunk. You wanted to be involved, but our insurance just cannot handle an injury to Scotty Minter. I don't think our hearts or our network could handle an injury to Scotty Minter. We would be dead in the water without Scotty Minter. So, unfortunately, we are denying the ability for these dunkers to use you as a prop.
Well,
your chair's too expensive, so we can't take you out of the chair.
It is,
and have them jump over the chair.
It is an expensive
so
chair, but,
sorry, Scotty. We tried.
Yeah, we tried. We took a shot, but
we need to get your chair with the hydraulics and get you up there to dunk, though.
Still make the best of it. Yeah.
Scotty throwing it down from up there.
I could raise and go in the standing mode in this chair. So
okay. Then get the rocket boosters and it. Please, if our insurance company won't let Scotty get jumped over, they're not going to let him have a jetpack on his back. Wouldn't that be wild? You know what? We can't have people jump over him, but you want to put jet propulsion on his back, go right ahead. That one's fine.
Yeah, I mean, now I saw your post recently about the
passenger.
carrier. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Now
go.
we carry people. Let's go.
Get on my back. But then I told my family, I said, that has to be a power chair because I'm not pushing, an extra 300 pounds
Yeah.
behind me. No way. Scotty, we want to thank you again. That was a great episode of Running Point. We went a little bit over, but there's no show at 2 and 3, so no harm done at all. Overtime's always fun time. We will see everyone at the All-Star Game on Sunday. I want to remind everyone that the rosters are on ysnlive.com, so go check those out if you missed any part of this show or you missed yesterday. We went over the boys roster, the waiver that every athlete has to sign, whether it be by yourself if you're 18 or older, or by a parent or guardian if you're under 18. That is also on the bottom of that page. So you either get that signed before you come on Sunday, or you can get it signed at player check-in on Sunday, but it got to be taken care of before you step on the floor in the All-Star Game. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 as we will continue our season previews as we gear up for Saturday's first day of baseball and softball. So thank you again, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a